Amongst the midweek results in MLS, LAFC's win over DC has them on the verge of being the first team to qualify for this year's playoffs. They visited San Jose in an all-Californian clash, just one of 14 fixtures coming your way from week 26. But we begin our review in the East at Dry Pink Stadium.
Pozuelo! The first Inter-Miami goal for Alejandro Pozuelo!
Miami's recent recruit had made an instant impact.
Pozuelo!
He faced his former team, Toronto.
Insigne once more, finds the angle and finds the net!
Who have hailed a new hero.
It's Lorenzo Insigne! And El Magnifico scores his first in front of the home fans!
Commentary comes from Richard Conlon.
Miami 4 unbeaten coming into this. 8 points from those games. Toronto 5 unbeaten. Here's Larrea. Akinola in the centre. Larrea checked back well. Bernadeschi hit it. And he struck it over the top. Really nice interplay though from Toronto. Yedlin back to Higuain. Space for Higuain. Made it for himself. Set up Jean Mota. Oh, he slipped through! Alex Berno with the error. Jean Mota with the goal for Inter Miami. And mistakes like that are all the more costly at this time of the season. Yes, he hit it well. Yes, it was travelling. But my Alex Berno should not have let that through. This is Chris Mavinga. Insigne very deep and sending out a terrific pass, but Miami won't mind if he's that deep most of the night. Here's Bernadeschi on that left foot of his. Insigne will hit it! Oh, yes! That's the kind of quality they are paying for. First time, took it out of the air and found the corner. And there aren't many in MLS who can execute a finish like that. Jean Mota did not swing it in, instead found Pozuelo and headed back beautifully. Lassiter, it must be! It is! Toronto completely caught out by the change of direction from the free kick. It was wonderfully worked. In by Pozuelo, not by Jean Mota. And Lassiter on hand to score in consecutive games for Inter Miami. They are back in front on the stroke of half-time. And Duke has lost it rather carelessly with his first touch. Michael Bradley hit it well. And Callender made a decent save, didn't let the ball escape from him, which was important. Here's Bradley. It can't be long. Time for one ball into the box at most, I think. Can Bernadeschi deliver it? He's going straight in himself. Oh, he's begging for the penalty, and he won't get it. Instead, he'll hear the final whistle. The check is over, the match is over. It's finished. Inter Miami 2, Toronto FC 1.
Not many teams want to come here. You know, we've built a reputation at home, you know, that, hey, we're a force to be reckoned with. You know, we always can improve week in, week out. And today, you know, just one of those days where, like, hey, performance wasn't our best, but we got the 3 points. Room for improvement.
Top against bottom in the East at Audi Field, and a daunting prospect for DC, beaten 7-0 in Philly 6 weeks ago. Ravel Morrison's early test of Andre Blake suggested an improved display from Wayne Rooney's side this time around. And moments later, another big moment. Taxi Funtas cracked the Union woodwork, and as the ball bounced away, the momentum shifted. Philadelphia's forceful forward line started to function with an inevitable outcome. Julian Carranza's cross controlled and dispatched by Mikel Ur, adding to the two he scored in that first meeting. One goal deficit at the break would have represented progress for DC, but just before the interval, Tony Alfaro upended Ur. Referee Ted Uncle was unimpressed initially, but a second look on video review changed his mind. Penalty Philadelphia, and Daniel Gastag gave the scoreline a more predictable look. Fortunately for DC, their tormentor-in-chief was ready to get involved.
Carranza. Oh, wow! What a goal!
The Argentine scored a hat-trick in that big win in July, and he wasn't prepared to settle for just one this time. His second owed much to substitute Corey Burke, whose persistence created the chance before his shot against the post proved the perfect assist. At 4-0 down, DC feared the worst and then helped it come true. A defensive blunder gifted Carranza his hat-trick. The first Union player to score more than one, both against the same opposition. And the second round of this head-to-head was completed in suitably emphatic style.
Burke, a sizzler, burns DC.
Behind Philadelphia in second, CF Montreal, who led in the first half against New England thanks to a familiar face.
Is that Kamara? It is!
The former Rev, Kai Kamara, is now outright third on the list of all-time scorers in MLS. And if his teammate, Ramel Kyoto, had always had seasons like this one in front of goal, he might have been pushing for that record himself one day. That was the Honduran's 13th of the season for Montreal, and he topped the tally up again after the break against a surprisingly weary-looking New England.
In the 18, Kyoto! Oh my goodness! Ramel Kyoto cannot be stopped!
The Revs' 5-game unbeaten run was certainly going to be, though. Omar Gonzalez came closest to reclaiming Bruce Arena's team some pride, before then being the one to ensure they left with even less. The defender's brush with Matko Miljevic was deemed to be worthy of a penalty, and one the 21-year-old wanted to take himself. He smoothly converted to keep Montreal on Philadelphia's tail, while New England are left surrounded by the masses again in the playoff race.
New York City FC started the weekend a point behind Montreal. They hadn't won since Tate Castellanos departed, so this was encouraging.
Pereira gets his shot away, what a goal!
Wow. Gabriel Pereira's pile driver was a blow for the Fire, who kicked off just 3 points outside the playoff spots. Their next setback moments into the second half was entirely self-inflicted. Skipper Rafael Schihers caught in possession, and Santiago Rodriguez put NYCFC back on the winning trail. Their margin of victory was the major issue after that, despite moments of threat from the hosts. Thiago Martins steered his header against the post, but the damage was done for Ezra Hendrickson's side, who've now followed 5 games unbeaten with 2 straight defeats.
Gerhard Struber's New York Red Bulls were comfortably in the playoff positions. Pat Noonan's Cincinnati were just outside. Cue the unexpected tale. Matt Miazga, a New Jersey native, with his first Cincinnati goal against his old club. The more predictable part of this script was that the Red Bulls were behind at home again. They'd lost their last 3 in Harrison, but after video review intervened to change what had been given as a Cincinnati free kick to a Red Bulls penalty, Patrick Klimala equalised to end a personal goal-scoring drought which had passed the 3-month mark. Young midfielder Daniel Edelman possibly should have won it for the hosts after the restart, but that's now 8 draws in their past 10 for Cincinnati. It turned out Miazga's moment was the only abnormality in the storyline.
New York was a rewarding trip for Charlotte and Orlando, who both won at Red Bull Arena last time out. Facundo Torres had scored Orlando's winner last weekend. Here he provided the assist for Ercan Kara just past the hour. While the Lions had beaten the Red Bulls, Charlotte had seen off NYCFC in midweek. They responded impressively.
That's a good ball. Looking for gas! And parity is restored!
The home fans clearly expected more than parity, and as Charlotte chased a winner, they were picked off. A helpful bounce in midfield, and Junior Urso's pass set Tesho Akindele off in pursuit of his first goal of the season. Christian Kalina denied him once, but not the second time. And Orlando were closing in on another happy road trip. But they didn't complete the journey without one last scare. Charlotte pushing hard to avoid a third defeat in 4, either side of that win at Red Bull Arena.
Brett Bronica! Oh, by a whisker! It kissed the aluminum!
Not close enough. Back-to-back wins for Orlando.
Atlanta United were in Ohio again. It was Cincinnati away last weekend and at the Columbus Crew this time. But this is a particular trip Santiago Sousa will always be able to distinguish from others. His first goal in MLS, both unforgettable and unstoppable. The Argentinian thought he'd scored again soon after, but his red-letter day in the Midwest was cut short by the referee's whistle. Gonzalo Pineda was left bemused, but it was that shove by Sousa that was spotted. It took the Crew more than an hour to find their feet at Lower.com Field, but when they did,
Cucho at the far post, Cucho scores!
that's becoming a regular commentary line, and at this rate, they might be rebranding themselves as the Columbia Crew.
Good ball into the area, Cucho, off one foot onto the other! He has been sensational since day one!
8 goals in 9 MLS appearances for Cucho. Atlanta weren't done though. Edwin Mosquera scuttled through to score, only for the 5 stripes to have another goal chalked off. This one though came with little argument. Pineda said afterwards though that his team had put in an inspired performance. The Atlanta equaliser was provided by Juanjo Parata, and Columbus had no real grounds for complaint.
To the Western Conference and the LA Galaxy's bid to stay ahead in the playoff race. They led their visitors Seattle by 4 places in the table, but just 1 point. 6th versus 10th was watched by Chris Wise.
Araujo. Cabral. Chicharito. It's there. Trademark celebration, trademark finish. The Mexican tends to only need one chance, and this one he took. Pretty much played a 1-2 off his thighs before popping it in. Jordan Morris is the furthest one forward. He's the one reaching it, and Seattle have equalised. But Morris then looks up to see the flag, and the flag raised. There will be a check, of course, on video review. It is marginal, but Morris has moved a fraction too soon. Delgado. Vasquez. Oh, it's beaten Fry. The Seattle goalkeeper flummoxed. Did Vasquez mean this? Does he care? 2-0 to the Galaxy. Here's Ruznak. Roldan. Luis Diaz. Just a little spin from him. And Rowe got one back. Perfectly placed as well by Kellen Rowe. It's his first goal in over a year in MLS. Would not know it with a finish like that. Retrieved by Delgado. Oh, and then given up by Delgado. It's Ruznak! Crossbar still shaking. There he is again, and this time he's hit the post, and Morris can't get to it either. Extraordinary stuff. Schmetzer can hardly believe what he's seeing. Sent it again. Nuhu keeping it alive. Ladero, Rui Diaz! Now they have it. Seattle banging on the door and finally breaking through. Lovely finish by Rui Diaz. From 2-0 down, it's 2-2. Ladero. Heavy touch by Roldan. Back with Ladero. There's Yeimar, and there's Morris! Behind 20 minutes ago, and now Seattle for the first time lead. Didn't get his goal in the first half, Jordan Morris. Was never ever going to miss that one. What a turnaround from the Sounders. Sent in towards Depew and held by Stefan Fry. Might have been a couple of touches on its way to the goalkeeper. Victor Rivas has been advised to have a look at this again. And the question is whether it's hit the arm of Arriaga. He's going to change his mind, the referee. It's going to be a Galaxy penalty. So in stoppage time, it is Jovalic, and it is 3-3. Very calmly done from the substitute. A point rescued. It has been an enthralling night. Is there one more twist to come? Douglas Costa went for goal. It's the side netting, and I think most of the stadium thought he'd done it. An extraordinary night. It's finished the LA Galaxy 3, Seattle Sounders 3.
I think the mentality was good for us to keep pushing and to get something out of this game in the end when, you know, I look at it as 2 points lost, but 1 point gained, I guess, in the end. So everything matters right now down the stretch.
Staying in the Golden State, an all-California affair. LAFC had a 7-match winning streak to defend, which seemed to inspire their hosts. Christian Espinoza and Tommy Thompson teeing up Benji Kikanovic for San Jose's early lead. The visitors' hot streak made a response inevitable, and Christian Arango almost provided a spectacular one. Coach Steve Cherundolo presented an air of calm, and his team's patient probing paid off early in the second half. Kellen Acosta's pass helped on its way by Mahala, his 7th goal of the season. The form book suggested LAFC would now ease their way to victory, and their current confidence was plain to see. Mahala denied another by the legs of JT Marcinkowski. The visitors seemed relaxed about it all, but they were heading for a shot from the Quakes. With 13 minutes left, Espinoza and Thompson combined again. Different scorer, same result.
King Cal! Roofs it! Goal! San Jose!
As LAFC slipped to their first defeat since the 2nd of July, things got a little worse. A 15-minute cameo from substitute Ilya Sanchez brought to an end by a second yellow card. Cherundolo promised his side won't be derailed by a rare night to forget.
So a chance for second place Austin FC to make up some ground on LAFC, and those two actually play each other next, but the Verde and Black had enough on their plate at Minnesota United. Emmanuel Reynoso was bumped into by Ethan Finlay inside the box midway through the first half, and he then finished the project he'd started.
Emmanuel Reynoso scores!
10 for the season in MLS, twice as many as he'd managed in 2021. But just before the break, a second penalty, and this one for Austin. The arm of DJ Taylor was the problem, especially as they then knew who'd be taking the spot kick.
It's Driussi who scores for Austin FC on the cusp of half-time.
That golden boot is getting closer, but an awful moment for Austin's backline cost them the game, and who knows, possibly a shot at the supporters' shield too. Franco Fragapane exploited the opportunity just after the hour. The Loons have fast become one of the teams to watch as we move towards the postseason.
Another Texan team on the road were third-place FC Dallas. They faced a Nashville side who contain one of the league's most informed players from any angle.
Manny Mokhtar goes wide and goes in! What a goal!
The Germans' 9th in 10 games was the perfect start for Nashville, looking to rally after successive home defeats. Another setback never looked likely, and Mokhtar continued to provide the inspiration. His fancy footwork finished by Jacob Schaffelberg for a goal on his debut. Dallas were being swept aside, and just past the half hour they were done for. Mukhtar extending his big numbers with a thing of beauty for 3-0. While he remains fit, the boys in gold have a genuine chance in that crowded playoff race. Dallas didn't manage a shot on target for the first time in more than 3 years, but just to prove that nothing is perfect, Mukhtar wasted a glorious hat-trick chance on the hour. But Nashville did reach their highest goal tally of the season from an unlikely source, a defender stealing a little of Mukhtar's thunder.
Love it. In swinger. And had it in! Dave Rodney! It is 4-0.
Nashville had begun the weekend on the same points as Vancouver, and the Whitecaps were at the home of another playoff rival in Real Salt Lake. And just after half-time, they had their goalkeeper Thomas Hasal to thank for denying Jefferson Savarino with a magnificent save. All that frustration at being repelled was clearly taken out in Savarino's next shot, which he pounded viciously onto the crossbar as Vancouver continued to dance on the right side of fortune. Mind you, they had a hearty dose of lucklessness too. Russell Tybert also wobbled the frame. But for two teams that had conceded more than they'd scored this season, the stalemate was never going to last.
Córdoba! Around it! Veselinovic! Yes! Córdoba! 3 games in a row! He's got his 7th goal, and RSL has the lead just past the hour mark.
RSL's coach Pablo Mastroeni called the Western Conference wild last week. There's minimal breathing space, so maximum points mean everything. And Vancouver snatched that away from RSL with Julian Gressel's late leveller. Nobody giving an inch in the Wild West.
The 500th home match in the history of Sporting Kansas City, who were looking for a 100th regular season victory at Children's Mercy Park. All those landmarks demanded a big performance, and the hosts were in prolific form, especially Willie Agada. His 4th goal in 3 games put SKC in front. They'd put 4 past the LA Galaxy 2 weeks before and then scored 3 in a losing cause at Austin, so it was no real surprise when the lead was doubled. Defender Andreo Fontas with a neat turn and finish. 2 minutes later, SKC became the first team in MLS history to score 3 first-half goals in 3 consecutive games.
Agada waiting for the support. How about Eric Tomney scores?
Having been bystanders for the first half, Portland had to improve after the break. And when they did, John Pulskamp stepped up. The 21-year-old keeper racing off his line to deny Jimmy Chara, and then racing back to it to divert Sebastian Blanco's chip. But that was only a temporary change in the direction of traffic. And with 15 minutes remaining, SKC surged forward again. Ben Sweat sliding a pass into the path of Agada, whose extremely hot streak continued. That was more than enough to fell the Timbers, who are now 5 games without a win. They managed the merest of consolations late on when Blanco tapped home, initially and inexplicably disallowed for offside, but the goal stood. Portland's 7-2 win when the sides met in May, comfortably avenged.
Colorado would have been in the playoff positions had they beaten Vancouver during the week. They didn't, and had therefore started the day in 11th, just 1 place above Houston. Lalas Abubakar swept the hosts ahead not long after half-time, though. That was the centre-half's 4th of the season. But the air of confidence around Kamara City started to wane when Brian Acosta was shown a 2nd yellow card. The Dynamo had 10 minutes plus stoppage time to prevent a 5th straight defeat. They used up practically every second of it, but with one final moment of ambition, Sebas Ferreira lashed in an equaliser. Robin Fraser said afterwards that harsh discussions had taken place in the Rapids dressing room.
That late Houston equaliser meant LAFC became the first team to qualify for the postseason, despite having lost themselves. Nashville are back above the line in the West at the expense of Vancouver.
The top 4 in the East are unchanged, but Orlando are up 2 spots to 5th, whilst Miami climb into the playoff places again. New England drop down to 8th.
We leave you with the 3 that hit 4.
Is that Kamara? It is!
And the Union's biggest ever MLS away win.
Alonso! Wow! A sizzler burns DC.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.